Hello and welcome to the Gauntlet Hangouts. My name is Lowell, and today we are playing one of my favorite PbtA games, the Sprawl, which is by Hamish, or Hamish, I'm not sure which, one of those two, Cameron. And this is one of the earliest of the cyberpunk PbtA trilogy of those out, Headspace, the Sprawl, and the Veil. And this is a mission-based cyberpunk game, and it can be highly lethal, which is kind of interesting for a PbtA game. And I've run it before, and I'm excited to have a chance to run it again. If you're watching this, know that this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, which is an online gaming community. We have about 200 games on the calendar this month, a little bit lighter because people are recovering from Gen Con and all that stuff. But we've also got about 6 different podcasts that are part of the network, forums. We've got a codex, which is a monthly zine, and all of that kind of stuff. So know that that is what is happening here. And if you like watching actual play videos, I've got a ton of them in my channel, so you can check that out and subscribe. So as I said, this is mission-based. Our characters get a job. They have to make a roll to get the job. They do some prep for the job. They do the job. Things go wrong, and then there's a roll to get paid. So it's a very structured thing. It reminds me a little bit of Blades in the Dark, but this actually came out well before Blades did. So we're going to be playing to solve problems and try and explore this world and be ready for when things go pear-shaped. This is, I don't want to say grim dark, but it's definitely a grittier, darker game. We'll play with whatever tone we want to have within that. We don't have necessarily a set setting. We can kind of talk about that after we define some of the corporate interests that are at play here. This is a game, though, that characters get hurt. It is very possible to buy the farm. The last time I ran this, a character got his eye torn out by an uplifted weasel, and it was and that was the start of him losing limbs, various fights throughout the thing. And one of the things is that you are people trying to do jobs, trying to make some money, but you're also kind of under the thumb of the corporations. The corporations are the ones that you run against, but they're also a lot of the times your employers, but they're also the threat clocks for the game. They are the ones that are sort of the rising threat over long-term play. So there's an interesting loop there as the heat gets hotter for you. As a Gauntlet game, we have a couple of safety tools that we use. The most basic one is that we have the X card. The X card is used if we hit material that's objectionable, problematic, racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever, or even wildly off tone. You're not comfortable with where we've shifted to. These are all legit reasons to do the X card. We can do the visible sign. You can say X card. You can do it in a chat. And the only question I might ask is how far back we need to roll to get past the material. How far back do we want to retcon back on? One thing I always say is that if the first couple of times something happens, you're fine with it. But later on, it bugs you. Like, for example, last night, one of the players is named Jim, and one of the characters named their character Jim, and that created some confusion. And Jim, the player, was fine with the first couple of times, but eventually to get that off the table as a thing. The other thing that we usually do is we do lines and veils to set material that is off the table, a hard line, or things that we fade to black on. This is a little bit grittier game, but for example, 2 things that I'm going to put a hard line on is torture as a successful technique. That's a hard line for me. That's just not a thing. There are moves to intimidate and interrogate, and we can go to that, but won't dwell into that. And sexual assault is another thing that's off the table. And so what I'd like to do then is go and see if anybody else has some other things that are definitely a hard line, or a veil meaning want to fade out when it comes to that material. Kurt, usually I have them across the bottom of the thing. Now I have them top down. So Kurt, you are at the top of my little Brady bunch thing here. Do you have any lines or veils?
No, nothing that you didn't cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is legit. Trey, anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered the bases for me.
Okay. Excellent. Puckett?
Could we just veil consensual activity or sexual activity if that pops up?
Yeah, absolutely. Do the Buffy thing. We fade to black. And Steven?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
With what you've already said. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the playbooks. We have the spreadsheet there. This is a very old school spreadsheet from the early days of the Gauntlet. As you can see, no bells and whistles. I did put the moves in tabs here for quick reference there if you don't have the move sheets printed out. So what I'd like to do is go around and see if from the playbooks, if people have strong feelings about what they would like to play. And I'm going to go in the same order. If you have one that you're really attached to, or a couple that you're thinking about, I'd like to do that. It is possible in this game, they say, for two people to take the same playbook if they really want to, because there is some variation between them. So, Kurt, do you have any strong thoughts on what you would like to play?
Well, I got real busy this week, so unfortunately, I have only read The Driver, but I'm happy to take anything.
Okay.
I'll just have to go and read it.
All right. Trey, have you thought about what you would like to play?
I'm the same way. So actually, just not the Matrix, because I heard the hacker probably wasn't
The hacker
worth playing.
Yeah.
So I'll just be a gun bunny or something.
Yeah. Okay. The hacker adds a whole bunch of subsystems, but if you like the tech stuff, they do have a tech archetype that's pretty good, and that handles a lot of that same thing. Puckett, have you thought about what you would like?
Well, you said that the reporter and pusher add some interesting dynamics to the group. So, yeah, kind of maybe a little bit.
Okay.
I just I don't know if it's quite so helpful to not be a gun hand, as it were.
The reporter has a lot of ability to get information on the ground. The pusher is actually a sort of fanatic that has followers with them. I will say it is a little more challenging role, but the reporter actually has some cool stuff.
Yeah, I picked up quite a bit of Spider Jerusalem in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, let me come back. Stephen, have you thought about what you want?
I did a little bit. I looked through the playbooks, and unfortunately, I only narrowed it down to 4. So I was going to see what everybody else wanted to play before I grabbed them.
So what are your 4?
Oh, I looked at the Infiltrator, the Soldier, the Killer, and the Tech.
Okay.
The last time I played the Sprawl, I played the Ghost, which is out of the Codex, one of the old codexes, which was awesome.
All right. This mission. Let me give all of you just a couple minutes, glance through, and then I am going to come back in that same order and ask for you to make a choice here.
Well, can we sort of like talk shop here and see? So
I would love that.
Okay, so one of the hesitations I have with playing the driver character usually is that they're really useful in some cases, not so useful in most others. So is the driver something we want to see in the game?
Driver is also like the rigger from Shadowrun, in that they can have drones and things like that. So
Okay.
they are a little
Yeah,
more.
I know how to. I know how to
useful.
pull that off.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how to make that work. I think I'm leaning heavily towards that then.
Okay. So driver. Anybody else have questions or things they want to ask about?
No, I'm really feeling more like the fixer.
Okay. Driver, fixer.
How does
Puck,
the
are you
clocks
happy with
work? That's the
for
thing I was
which-
running into for the clocks for
Oh,
the
okay.
reporter, like the story clock and the noise clock.
So what those are a little bit more long term, but they are about exposing the enemy. So let me pull this up here. Let me get this thing there. So what you do is, I believe the story clock means that when you go on a mission, you kind of create a story clock that you are getting evidence for. The noise clock is actually the clock that is kind of the heat clock for the group. Like when that heat clock gets to midnight, then things are going worse for the group. People are more prepared. People are covering their asses, that kind of thing. So the story clock is like a parallel mission clock that you have running as the reporter.
Okay. And then how does that work with the job in between jobs? You know.
So in between jobs, like let's say you get a job, the group gets a job, and they go and do the legwork to do prep. What you're doing is doing the legwork to try and figure out what the story is, what you can sell, what kind of info you can kind of use in combination or in parallel with the job that's going on. Yeah, it can be challenging. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, what the hell?
Go for it.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
You only live
What are you
once,
gonna
right?
play? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. So driver, fixer, reporter.
I think I'll play the killer then.
Okay.
Get somebody with some direct actual combat expertise in the mix.
Yes. So one of the things we're going to do before you actually go to creating your characters is each of us is going to come up with a corporation. These are the corps that are in the background. They are the forces that are going. We need a name and maybe an idea of what they're about. And we're going to give them each a clock. And we're going to play around with them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the clocks thing. So they have the GM do one as well. So I'm going to do. I use this in a lot of games. A corporation named Oyamato, and it's a entertainment and media corp. Originally in Japan, but sort of exiled from Japan, more international reach than Asian reach for Oyamato. So that's my corp. It's like Jinrai from Netrunner. Kurt, I'm gonna have you give us a name and tell us what this corp's about.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we need. Oh man. We need like. I'm trying to think. So I think we need like the company that makes all of the cars and drones and that kind of thing. or at least one of them. And so
Okay.
I think this needs to be. Oh, I like this. So there's the Renault Nissan Mitsubishi Alliance. This is a real thing in real life. But I want to change
Actually, it is.
I want to change out some of the names for like aerospace companies.
Okay.
So what's a good aerospace company we could put in the middle?
Boeing.
Yeah, like the Renault Boeing Mitsubishi Alliance.
Okay.
And they make all the like drones and cars and things.
Mitsubishi Alliance. Okay. That is awesome. And we format that to wrap the text there. Okay. Cars, drones. Trey, what's your corporation here?
So I was going with a Tier Nexum. So it'd be like Tiers, T-E-I-R, and then Nexum, N-E-X-U-M. And they would be
I like that name.
kind of like a life improvement. It's not just that all encompassing kind of like, we know where your next house should be. We know like what kind of things you should fill the house with. Like they don't force it on you, but it, the Facebook kind of idea, but they can persuade you.
I like that very much. Very cool. All that social media, all that just being helpful. Okay. Puckett, what about you?
Dontaku, Dontaku. They make large scale construction equipment, like strip mining equipment, heavy duty mining equipment, cranes for constructing skyscrapers, that sort of thing.
Okay. Solid. Of course, they're probably not involved in anything nefarious. I mean, what kind of thing that's been involved in construction has ever been criminal? So that's awesome.
I mean, particularly when they're supplying construction equipment to strip mines in Africa. I mean, that's never gone wrong.
Exactly. Stephen, give us our last corporation.
Nopani Rhine Technologies. I put
Spell
that in the
that.
chat.
Oh, okay. That's even better.
And they specialize in cyberware and enhancements, but they tend to rent them out. And if you don't pay on time or you don't pay up front enough, they will repossess.
Perfect.
Ooh, I just got a weird noise.
Yeah, I think Trey dropped, but he'll be back.
Okay.
This is one of the Jitsi things. It is not quite as stable. It's Gauntlet Hangouts, which has been a frustration.
I've noticed a little bit of lag as well.
Yeah.
If I put you guys in a smaller thing, then it seems to be better.
Yeah, I took my resolution down to SD to see if that helped, and that seemed to have done okay. So what you're going to do now is go ahead and work through your playbooks. There are some stat choices and things like that you can do. You can pick a column on the character sheet. Things that I don't want you to worry about today. Don't worry about picking your gear. You can do that on the fly. Anything about contacts, the directives, those are things I don't want you to worry about today. Instead, choose your moves. Look at your cyberware picks from your playbook. And those are your stats. So those are the most important things to do. And then if you have questions about what things mean, go ahead and ask. And once everybody's kind of got things together, then I'll have us do introductions. A lot of the cyberware has tags. Some of it is very descriptive, and some of it is a little more specific.
All right, I did the important part. I found a picture.
Okay, good. That is the always important thing.
All right, let's go through here. When we take a break, I think I might try switching browsers and see if this runs a little better outside of Chrome.
Okay, sure.
Maybe it's like a resource thing. But
Yeah, I'm actually running in Firefox because Chrome has decided that I no longer have cameras, and that has become a problem for that. A couple of things you'll see referred to, you'll see in your playbooks sometimes in brackets, you'll see Intel and gear. Those are resources that are usually generated in the what they call the legwork phase, essentially the setting up for the operation phase, and those get spent then during play. They're an abstract commodity. Intel can usually be used to set things up and give yourself a bonus on rolls. They also power some moves.
Lowell, is there anything in the system that we're not going to engage with other than the hacker moves?
I'm holding off on directives till next week because that's one of the experience point generators. This week we're going to kind of be in the middle of missions, so we're not necessarily going to have a legwork phase or a payoff roll, those kinds of things, depending on our time. But we will engage with those later. And we've only got 3 sessions, so if there's anything that looks like a long term, like if this is masks and you took the doomed.
How much XP is required for an advance? 5?
10.
10. Okay.
10. But it is a little more generous about XP.
so how much of the cyberware do we want to put in the sheet? Just like the name of what it is? Because it looks like they've got modifiers and stuff on them and costs.
Yeah, I think probably just knowing what cyberware you have, like the visual one, the ones that like the cyber ears, cyber eyes, that kind of thing. It allows you to use your synth stat for the assess move. Like that's what a bunch of the cyberware does. Is if you have a high synth, you can sub it in for certain moves.
I'm going to ask you a weird question.
Sure.
You don't happen to have Fraser's links to his Instagram cyberpunks sites, do you? Not Instagram.
His Pinterest?
Yeah.
No, I'll give you mine. Let me pull up my Pinterest board.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that when I was looking at Pinterest. I was like, I've got some, but Fraser's got some good ones.
Yeah.
Well, and I was looking through stuff, and I found very in poor taste images off of Google Images, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, let me find that I use for Neo Shinobi Vendetta. It may be a little more specific. I'll see if I can find Fraser's too, because I think I follow him, and I think I've stolen a lot of my stuff from him. There's my board. And let's see, following. Oh, yeah, there's Fraser.
What's up with the 1500, 1800, 2100? Is that the harm track?
That is a clock. So everything has a 6-segment clock. And it literally has the hour numbers on there to represent that.
Okay, military time. Got it.
Yep. And here are Fraser's boards, because he's got way too many cyberpunk boards.
What does the synth stat do?
So sometimes you'll have a move that will allow you to use the synth stat in place of certain things. A lot of what it is certain cyberware that you use. If you have that cyberware, like for cyber eyes, if you're doing something related to cyber eyes, like you're trying to spot or scan, you can use synth instead of the other stat for the assess move. So it's usually used by people who have a lot of cybernetics. And if anyone has any questions about what any of the cyberware tags or what the cyberware are, I have those reference sheets right in front of me.
The cyberware tags?
Some of the cyberware comes with particular tags that essentially represent features that they have or limitations that they have.
Okay.
So like if you take cybercoms, which are like the built-in, you choose from the tags encrypted, jamming, recording, satellite relay,
Perfect.
inaccessible partition. Yeah.
Because I got neural interface, and then I just picked my two.
Mm-hmm.
For that. Okay. I'm just getting to the last bit of the starting list, and then I'll, in the interim, look for the gear and contacts after the game.
Okay.
Or later.
Yeah. We'll do that stuff definitely on the fly as you need to.
Excellent. So I picked up this where my cyberware is I'm owned and I have to choose somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a player or I just make a name up?
No, you choose one of the corps.
Oh.
one of the 5 corporations that we've got is the corp that owns you.
Whoopee.
Yep.
That's
all
funny.
of those kinds of things are gonna roll back to that.
I also have a neural interface, and I am also owned.
Ah, nice. We compare our loans.
Yeah, right. Or it might be more interesting if I pick hunted. It's the same. It's similar, right?
Yeah.
You just there's somebody,
and you choose a corporation.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go hunted
Well,
by
Kurt,
RBM instead of.
I was going to ask you who you picked as your company because I was going to be owned by the same one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's both be owned by the same one. So I'm picking RBM, and I think we should actually change Boeing to something else so that it's a P name, so it can be RPM. Because I didn't realize until I abbreviated it. So that it can be
good.
the RPM Alliance. So let me find a a suitable P name for that. Yeah.
I'm down. So yeah, I'm owned by them also.
Okay, cool. So we were for
How
some
about
reason we were both owned.
Palantir Technologies.
What's that?
How about Palantir? They're involved
Sure.
very heavily in facial recognition software, NSA
like-
stuff. Yeah, that Palantir.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll put
So
that in.
Renault, Palantir, Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
You know, when they wanted to get into self-driving cars.
Yeah.
Love it.
Don't worry, there's a reason your car needs to be able to recognize your face and pull your Facebook data.
It's for security. It's identity verification to make sure that nobody steals it.
Yeah, you can unlock your car with your face. What's safer than that?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm good. I just got to come up with a name, but I got the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Then a couple of questions with the tags. I'm looking at the neural interface with data storage. What does the inaccessible partition do?
So the inaccessible partition means essentially that, let me see how it says it. It has a courier mode in which the implantee can't access the data being recorded, stored, or transmitted. So it's essentially the Johnny Mnemonic
Right. Okay.
thing where it's locked away even from you.
And then with high speed, what advantage does that give?
Basically, it's the fiction that you have. You can stream and access data much faster than most people's normal connections.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you all about 5-6 more minutes to find pictures, get your stuff in, all of that jazz, and then we will come around and do introductions.
I figured out the name. Now I got to dive into this world of pictures.
Man, all of these moves are awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to not take like 5 of these moves. One of them is called Iceman. So sad. Okay, so if I don't take drone jockey, do I still start with 1 drone?
Yes, I believe so.
Where are these pictures going to end up? Do we?
Oh, on the spreadsheet that we've got, the Google sheet, you can put your character info on the characters tab, and then you can insert the image there so people can see that.
Thank you. I was writing it on paper.
Sherry always has me print everything out, and she double copies.
Yes. I usually don't do paper, but it's always
But there's a
it's
lot of
always
stuff
handy.
on these sheets. Yeah, on these playbooks, there's a lot of info.
What is a vectored thrust panzer?
Vectored thrust panzer. Let me
If
look
it's a
at that.
tank, I might have a tank.
Yeah, that's under vehicles, right?
Yeah, it's one of the frames that you can build your vehicle on top of. Ooh, I could have a luxury tank.
Yeah, I think that is. I mean, if they're using the term panzer, then it's probably a tank.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. That's going to be useful. All right. We're going to go with like a car. Cuz
Fair enough.
I don't know how many getaways we can pull in a panzer. It is vectored thrust, whatever that means.
Gosh, I don't even know how you would define that, but I love it.
Well, I think of the normal Panzers, they could like come off the ground kind of like a ATOL kind of vehicle or something that just like uses thrust down and then forward also at a very fast speed. So it's not wheels, but it's not wings. It's like I don't know technically, but that's what I imagine, like a hovercraft on steroids.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it might be like a VTOL kind of thing.
Well, hovercraft is one of the options.
Yeah, but hovercraft would be like a hovercraft goes over water and stuff like that. A VTOL would be like fly like a helicopter or switch to fly forward.
Mm-mm.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe.
You're talking to a person who can barely identify a car model.
Amen, right here.
Yeah, okay, good. I'm relieved.
I would just take car. It'll be easier. Maybe later I'll look it up and we'll get me a tank.
Okay. Okay. That. All right, give me one more minute. Then I'm going to have you do introductions. All right, Kurt. Tell me, what is your character's name?
Oh man, starting with the hard questions.
I know.
I didn't think about names. Okay, so it's there's no name lists. Dang it.
There is on the back page actually of that, the page 2, the bottom left-hand corner, I think, of the playbook.
Oh, good. Okay, we're picking. Oh, wait. I mean, should I be cowboy? No, that's too much. Squirrel. My name is Squirrel.
Your name is Squirrel.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be like Squirrel, and then the name of that would be like on his so like who did he drove for RPM, but like probably one of their subsidiaries. So it'd be like damn it. Yeah, we'll just go with Squirrel. That's good for now.
So and it may be that the group just knows you as Squirrel.
Yeah.
For the moment. So tell us what you're imagining in terms of Squirrel's appearance and background.
Oh yeah, so he is definitely like a showboater. He's always wearing like leathers, right? Like racing leathers. It doesn't matter where he is. And he's got that like, shaved side of his head with the cyberware showing because he's got the neural interface thing going on, and then he's got this like pink to purple mohawk that probably has like some of the wires go into it, so like you can't tell where the hair ends, and then the like wires come out at the back. And he is the like oh man, like he's always bragging, he's always over the top, like you can't pin him down. He's kind of like he's squirrely.
Okay, that seems appropriate.
Yeah.
And tell us about your cyberware that you have. You said the neural interface. And do you have anything else? Do you have any other cyberware, or is that the main?
No, he's just got the neural interface, and he's proud of it too. He really wanted, like he grew up wanting to be a race car driver, and they all have to have the neural interface, right? Like because they're all jacked into their cars, and so that was like his life goal. And so when he got sponsored by RPM, that was the top. And then something happened, and he lost his sponsorship, and he just ran.
What happened?
So I think he was supposed to lose a race, and he refused to lose the race, and he just won anyway. And then they dropped him and put out a bunch of stuff about him.
And so he kind of went on the run. So how hard do you think it was for him to transition from being literally a race car driver to being a kind of a street level mercenary in some ways?
I mean, I think he hasn't really accepted it yet, right? Like any chance he gets, he's gonna hot rod. He's gonna try to race. Like he street races. He drives his drones too fast. Like he is not a careful guy, because he's just looking for that thrill, and all of that like anger, all that like resentment is just piles up, and any chance he gets, he will hurt RPM as much as possible.
Okay. Sounds perfect. We will come back to you when we do the talk about links towards the end. Trey, let's come to you. Tell us, what is your character's name?
All right, so we got Bob Higgins. He's a fixer, slight build, small person. And let's see. So his cyberware is going to be the neural interface, and it's genetic how he got that. So I didn't really realize what that was when I underlined it at first, but now I'm kind of like rolling with it. So maybe he had like a traumatic brain injury or something, and so got this implanted to kind of help him, just be normal and stuff like that. So yeah, or something degenerative. We'll go with traumatic. Former life. That's what he was doing. And took a loan out with RPM to get that done. And with the small build, I just imagine him being a normal type of person. So his name is, I picked my own name, Bob Higgins. His look is
absolutely.
Eyes are trustworthy. His face is friendly. His body's small, and he wears formal clothes. So the picture that I have just has a slight in the face, and I didn't get it in the drive yet. But on his face, he has just a few like metallic marks, just from where the surgery is, and stylized cyberware, but nothing super crazy obtrusive. He didn't go that far into debt. This is just really expensive brainware, you know.
And what do you imagine when we think of Bob as a fixer? What is Bob's approach? What is Bob's tactic? What does it mean for Bob to be a fixer?
He really just blends in, but stands out when you're talking to him. So he's the type of person you wouldn't really notice him in the crowd, but then when people do focus on his face, they're like, "Oh wait, I know him." Like he looks like somebody that they know, and then he just really works that to always be engaging folks. He has the move smooth, so he tries to hustle and fast talk when he can, and just kind of gets people over to the side. So everybody in the neighbor knows him, but nobody ever really notices him.
Okay. And how old does Bob look? I mean, do we 20s, 30s, or we just can't tell?
Oh, they're always like my age, so we're gonna go in our 40s. So he looks, might see him in the park playing chess, grabbing a beer
Okay.
somewhere,
And
maybe talking
what
to
do
a
you think?
gang of kids.
Do you think he's always been in this sort of fringe element of people who do these operations, or has he slid into it over time?
Oh, he's definitely always been. He's not a gunslinger, but he just connects people and finds that you can get a little money when you connect the right people. So, oh, you need this? Here, I know some people that can get that for you. It'll just cost you 10%. So he's really made his life around that, hustling.
Excellent. I like that. All right, we're going to come back to you on links once we get through everybody's intros.
Excellent.
Puckett, what is your character's name?
My character's name is Jace Taylor, and the easiest and simplest way to describe him is that he's a dirtbag.
Okay.
He sort of worked his way down the ladder. He was once something of a respected journalist, as if that word has any meaning anymore, and gradually just kind of alienated every editor and publisher that was still willing to work with him until now he's a freelancer of last resort. And he's available to pretty much anybody who will pay him, but for the most part, it's muckraking tabloid journalism that has him paying the bills, as it were. For some reason, he loathes Dontaku. Not entirely sure why, but any chance he gets to put any kind of journalistic bullet into them, he will take regardless of the cost.
When you say that he managed to alienate these editors and so on, how his approach, his investigative style, his personality, what is it that drove these people off?
Yes.
Okay.
Simply put, it's not that he played fast and loose with the facts. It's that he was willing to extrapolate more from those facts than most editors felt comfortable with. And it would frequently devolve into a shouting match between him and the editor, with him saying, more or less, "You pleasant and well-intentioned person, we both know that these rapscallions are up to more skullduggery than we can print. Why don't we just print it and see where the chips fall? Eh, good sir?" To which the response was usually something along the lines of, "Prithee, bring me back more information, and then we shall print the story." To which he said, "Aye, aye, Captain. You're the boss."
So you've run that through a filter. I see. What kind of cyberware does he have?
His cyberware, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect of a journalist. He's got a neural interface with data storage. And the only questions that I have are whether the encrypted communications stuff that he can take as gear offsets or overrides the encrypted neural interface. So that's a mechanic.
I think it'll be the encrypted means resistant to hacking.
Yes.
So it's hard for people to break into that. Yeah. We'll have to think about that. Why did you go and do that? Was it just work? What I mean, purely a necessity? Were you forced to do it? How did that come about?
Initially, it paid well, shockingly enough in this world. But he also started out on something that was more like a PR end of journalism. So he was writing puff pieces for corporations that made them look good. And then he started kind of seeing what they were really up to. And then he started pressing to do some more unbiased reporting and quickly found himself out of a job. And like I said, he worked his way down the ladder. So at each turn, he managed to uncover some more dirt and get a little bit angrier until now he's at the bottom. And he's really just very vindictive and angry.
So is the cyberware from the options? Is it something you bought yourself? Is it something someone else bought for you and now you owe them, or is it something you kind of walked off with?
I believe that he left a previous employer without surrendering the tech.
Sure. So that means you are hunted. Which corp did you walk out on that is hunting you?
Why not RPM?
Okay. That makes sense. All right, we will come back to you. Let's talk with Steven. Steven, tell us about your killer.
My killer's name is Molly, and she's disarmingly. Her appearance is disarming. She seems a little bit punkish, a little bit cute, a little bit small for what this is. But when you see her in action, she's quite bloodthirsty and messy. I think all of my choices were all based around weaponry. My implant is an implanted weapon. It's a monofilament whip. I also made it one of my custom weapons. The move that I chose was an additional custom weapon. I'm supposed to name my weapons. The whip is named Loki. And the other custom weapons I have are a pair of handguns. They are silenced. And I think I have all the tags in the character sheet. And their names are Hugin and Munin. And let's see, what else? I have the implanted monofilament whip for military purposes. And my cost was I fucked someone over to get it.
Okay.
And I am also hunted.
And which corporation is hunting you?
Is there a list of corporations that I missed?
The ones we came up with. It's on the clocks page.
There. That's what I was looking for. Okay. And I think everyone else chose RPM. Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm going to choose something different. There we go. I think this was a Black Ops section of the Tyrannexium.
Okay.
Tyrannexium. Yeah.
I like that. How old does she look like?
She probably looks almost like a late teenager, early 20s. But you get the feeling she's really older than that. Just from things she said. She might not be the smartest cookie.
Okay. These guns, these cool silenced handguns you have, is that something somebody gave you? The hand-me-downs? Is it something you had made special? What is the deal with them?
I think that they started out, and I started practicing with weapons I inherited from my father. However,
Ooh,
those
okay.
are long gone, and these are weapons that I have customized to look like them. So these are replacements for my inherited pistols.
I like that.
Because they were old. They required reloading and they required all this. They were slow.
And what did you take for moves for your character?
So the killer gets one move, which is custom weapon, and then chooses one more, and I chose a second custom weapon.
Okay,
Loaded for bear.
nothing like
So it's the
doubling
guns.
down.
Yeah, it's the guns and it's the whip.
Okay, that seems excellent. And moved this Black Ops and to doing these kind of street level things. Okay. So the last thing that we do is we're going to do links. And the way this works is I'm going to go around and each of you is going to tell me about a job that you did and it's a job you did against one of the corporations. Give us a general sense of what that job was. And then we're going to ask the next player if they were involved with that and how. And then the player after that. And so let's say that Stephen described a thing. We would come to Kurt. If Kurt says that he was involved there, then Kurt can write down that he is +1 link with Stephen's character. So it's always the person who jumps in that does that. And links are primarily used for your helping someone or interfering with someone move. And they are a thing that at the end of missions, you'll get a chance to say, hey, I got closer to this person and build those up. So they're a little HXy in their own way from Apocalypse World. Kurt, recent job that you did, what corporation did you run against?
Where'd it go? I lost the thing. Here it is. Come on, show me the clocks. Because I don't want to pick the one that I've put everything into, so I got to pick something else. Okay, so we have RPM, Tier Nexum, the entertainment. Ooh, let's do the entertainment one.
Okay.
So I think we had a job. It was an escort mission. I had a job to pick up their newest star, who was kind of like the Justin Bieber of this 15 minutes.
Right.
And so I had to pick them up at their hotel room and get them to a show. And of course it immediately went off the rails. Like they didn't show up to the pickup point. We ended up having to go into the hotel to find them. They had gotten in bad with some drug dealers. And so we had to get them away from them and get them to this show, which they were, halfway through the show before they even got there. And then,
so the mission did not go as,
it did not go well.
You as intended.
No.
Okay. So Trey, was Bob Higgins part of that operation?
No, not this time.
That's not his thing. Okay. That is cool. What about you, Jace?
I think I was supposed to interview this pop star as part of, just this corporation's attempt to burnish its image. And, well, when all of that went pear-shaped, so did my story.
So you did have a chance. You ended up working with Squirrel. So you can write down that you have one link with Squirrel. Trey, tell me about a job that you did recently that essentially where you did a run against one of these corporations.
Well,
either directly against them or you screwed up a job where you're working for them?
And the outcome can be good or bad, right? It doesn't. It's
Yeah.
always bad. But all right. Well, I went all in on RPM. Renault,
Okay.
Palantir, Mitsubishi has been the bane of my existence, and any chance I can steal something from them, I will. So, I had actually helped. I had got a line on a job to help furnish them some workers, and I gave them just the worst workers and skimmed off the top. But unfortunately, that went awry. They looked in the books and realized that I was overcharging, and so they sent some people after me. So yeah, it went horribly pear-shaped. But I did get my gear, one of my pieces of gear, which is a flashy motorcycle. So
I like
I
that.
was able to make it out with a motorcycle in my life, but that added to the debt I owed him, and I'm hunted.
Jace, were you involved in that at all? Either for or against?
I don't think so.
Okay. What about you, Molly? Were you involved in that at all?
I think I was. I think that, I was kind of the muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Part of the backup. And of course, when things went pear-shaped, all your stuff is super messy. So I assume it got super messy.
Oh yeah, I tried to help shield you, Molly, but I'm sorry.
What if it was the other way?
Ooh.
I was hired and I was on the other side.
Oh, okay.
And I saw, basically, we know each other. There's no grudge on my side. It was just a job.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. So
Maybe in the
give yourself
neighborhood,
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So give yourself one link, Bob Higgins. Then, Jace, tell me about a job that you did against one of the corps.
Well, I got called in to do a story on Dontaku. And this is back when I was still sort of okay with Oyamato. And what they wanted to do was to do some of this kind of earth conscious, nature friendly piece on how damaging the Dontaku Corporation was to the planet and how we had, people had to protest and stop them. Well, the downside was it turned out that Dontaku was doing even worse than anybody knew about. And, well, Oyamato didn't really care to try to publish all of that.
Okay.
So I went a little renegade and kind of just did it. And that's how I burned my bridges with Oyamato.
Okay. So you think is it Oyamato or Dontaku who's more irritated with you from that job?
I think it's Oyamato because they wanted me to stop
Okay.
at a certain point, and I just went ahead with it.
That makes sense to me. Molly, were you involved in that particular job?
I would say no.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Squirrel?
This was okay. So this is a job.
He was doing a reporting on Dontaku, discovered that the stuff was even harsher, more problematic than his employer Oyamato had known, and he went ahead and pushed it and kind of got Oyamato pissed at him.
Yeah, I mean, I already showed that I worked for Oyamato, and this was a job for them, right? Initially.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be that you met him on the opposite side.
Yeah, I think maybe I was like your escort there. Like I was assigned to get you get you around.
Yeah, sorry about that. You should probably keep that in mind going forward, that I tend... I've never been accused with an overabundance of brains or common sense.
Ditto.
So Squirrel take +1 links with Jace. And then last but not least, by the way, you also notice as I'm doing this, if you're looking at the corporate things, you will notice that I'm ticking their clocks up. That is what is going on there. When those clocks get to midnight, no, it's only the people who helped you out that take the links with you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Molly, tell me about a job you ran against a corporation or for a corporation where you pissed them off.
So I think Nopani Reen hired me to steal tech from Dantaku.
Okay.
And I think I was successful, but Dantaku knows that I did it, but not who I did it for.
Okay. And my question then is, Squirrel, were you involved in that operation?
Yeah, let's mix it up. Let's get in here with everybody.
Yeah.
So what would I have done? Oh, we're stealing stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, totally. I got to do a little groundwork, or a little air work, because I have a rotary drone. So I probably stayed in the car and gave you air support.
Nice. And then Bob.
Quick question.
Were you? Yes.
Is it only one person per job?
The way it works with the links is somebody describes their job, and then we check with the next two people to see if they were involved. Yeah.
Got it.
Bob, were you involved in that theft from Dantaku? Sorry, Trey?
Was I involved in that job?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How did you help out?
Well, I helped cover his tracks. So they didn't know who it was, and that's partly because of me. I know enough people that I was able to misdirect. So it would have been a lot worse. But I know because it was one of those things where they were polluting the neighborhood with this horrible like shine that was just hurting a lot of kids and people. And so my neighborhood is very important to me. I've been running there forever. So yeah, I helped you out.
So let me ask then, and you'll write down that you have one link with Molly, then Bob.
Awesome.
What kind of place are we talking? What kind of city are we in? Are we in an American city? Are we in a European city? Something else? God forbid, Canada. Central America. What kind of city? Kurt, do you want to put something on the table? Suggestion about, the metroplex that you're operating in?
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool to see something in South America. We don't see a lot of like. I don't know, maybe something in like Mexico City or Brazil.
Like it's become a really rich metroplex that has spread out and gotten upgraded.
I think it's good. It's a manufacturing, like they grew out of manufacturing, right? Like they started getting more and more manufacturing there, and like these corps ended up bringing their headquarters so they could create stuff. So we don't have a lot of like cyberware and things like that, but like the headquarters for RPM is probably in Mexico City, and maybe what's the other one that does like technical stuff?
Like
the construction equipment, like Dantaku, maybe, or
yeah, that makes sense. It's after the collapse of America. A lot of places went.
And everyone had to immigrate south to.
Nice.
Yeah. Are you everybody else? Are you cool with that, or does that sound like a reasonable thing?
Well, I imagined kind of too, like one of those connections to a space bridge,
Oh,
So
okay.
one of those like literally like somehow tethered from the earth to the
Yeah.
sky. So it's not flying to it. It's
Like
like those movies.
it's
And those have to be on the equator, right?
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. Maybe more stable.
Yeah. A beanstalk, a mass
Yeah.
driver elevator. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Elite or up top, obviously.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things where the beanstalk itself, things have been built down at the bottom. There's probably a whole set of like worker slums on the base of it, and then
Ooh.
up a ways, they probably got different launch points, maybe an airport's up top, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Okay.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Oh yeah, I like that. Puckett, what else do you want to add to this this city that we're playing in?
There are vast slums,
Okay.
just miles upon miles of it's I mean, I suppose there are structures in the most loose sense of the word, but
Mhm.
there are structures that look like a strong rain could bring them down. And this is where, I mean, we're talking about a megaplex here. So millions of people live in these structures, you know, with corrugated tin roofs and that leak and mud floors, cinder block walls at best. There's probably a non-trivial amount of violent crime, and getting out of them is almost impossible. It's like if you're born in one, you are basically going to die in one, and your best case scenario may be that it comes sooner rather than later, because that way you don't get to live long enough to die from the pollution or from cancer or from illnesses that are basically just rounding errors for these corporations.
So we've got a lot of corporate exploitation, vast slums, probably since there's a lot in the Mexico City, there's a lot of that sort of federalism and stuff. So there's big sections that are blocked off in different areas there. I like that. And finally, Stephen, what else do you want to add to our locale?
Yeah, I think that there is a real dichotomy here because most, a lot of us and a lot of people live in the slums, but I think there's also a very elite area where there are people who are extremely wealthy. These are going to be like the CEOs and upper management of the corporations, or those who inherited a great deal of wealth, and they live. So we described this in South America. Did we describe much about the city itself, like its topology?
Mexico City. So that's a valley, got mountains nearby. We've got this mass driver elevator that things have been built up on.
It'd
That's
be
the
nice to have the
Right.
color gold kind of emphasized if it's going to be like Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
I was actually thinking that the elite live on the edge of the cliffs, so they have a good view, and they're actually literally looking down on the rest of the city.
So they built up the mountains, regardless of environmental issues. They built those as the playgrounds of the hyper rich.
Right.
There's probably a lot of air traffic, hovers and helicopters and vector panzers flying around, going from place to place. Okay, we are going to take a about a 5-minute break or so, and when we come back, we will kind of throw us into a quick mission to get started on that. We're going to truncate a few things, but this is going to be to kind of play out some of the things. So I'm going to start a little be right back video so that the call doesn't stop, and I'll see you all in 5.
So Lowell, did you have to start some kind of video to keep the link alive?
There are ways I can share it. What it is Mikkel put together, I think Mikkel put together a 15-minute video with copyright-free music and just the Gauntlet Hangouts logo. Because if everybody goes off camera, the thing goes, oh, well, the call must be over, and turns the call off. That is. And last night, actually, in the Worldwide Wrestling game, I ran some videos from the Mountain Goats and their album on wrestling. I showed a couple of those videos because my thing isn't monetized, so it kind of doesn't matter. But I did get a little thing that said contains copyrighted material. All right. And Trey, when you get back, if you're back.
I'm here. Just still
okay.
The video's not coming through.
Oh, sure. What we're going to do is we're going to go kind of into a mission. The sense of the mission being that you all got called in a little bit late. Something has gone wrong, and I'm going to talk about what that is, and we'll kind of do some setup on that. And within that, we are going to set up essentially we're going to assume that you have 2 gear and 2 intel in hand when you go into this mission. I'm going to give you the basics on it, and then I'm going to ask you to flesh out some details of it. And we'll still be sticking with that same order going in. By the way, those who have not played with me before, which is Trey, I usually set an order at the start of the session. I will change that each session. But as I'm going through and doing that and calling, kind of calling actions, if you're like, oh, I want to go, I got something for this, just say, and we'll switch the order up. So about 12 hours ago, a team of street mercenaries, not unlike yourself, called the Jaguar's Paw, entered into one of the Renault Palantir Mitsubishi Alliance satellite facilities, one of the manufacturing facilities, on a very standard mission, the kind of thing that you would do to extract a data visualization specialist from RPM by the name of Cortez. Jaguar's Paw was supposed to deliver Cortez to their employer, who is from Tier Nexium. However, that has not happened. So, Kurt, how did the employer, the people who are now calling you, how do they know, besides Cortez not showing up, that something went wrong after they extracted this guy? What do they know? Have they found out info about what happened? Some informer. How do you think they figured that out?
So I think Cortez had a panic button. And I don't know if anyone can hear me. It's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah.
I think Cortez had a panic button, and he triggered that at some point.
Yeah. So we'll say a few hours ago, Cortez tripped his panic button. He still hasn't been delivered, and intel coming from inside RPM indicates that RPM still don't have him back. So let me ask you, Trey, what kind of location, what kind of area did they pinpoint that panic button to? Did they get a neighborhood? Did they get a particular building or business? What kind of place?
So they actually got, of course, my neighborhood. Things just always
Okay.
happen here. And we're I can't go slums, but if there's a middle class somewhere between the slums and the
Oh yeah.
elite.
Let's assume that we maybe have that kind of almost Judge Dredd style blocks.
There you go. More controlled. We have security. Like, we might not have things that are dramatically better, but at least we know it's safe to raise a family.
Yeah. So these are in a set of blocks. They're more security blocks. Middle class come and around your area. Puckett, tell me, what do you know about the Jackpaw? This team that went in and got Cortez out.
Those amateurs? Okay, so here's the thing about the Jaguars, Pop. They are known for getting a job done if you don't care about the casualties incurred, if you don't care about how messy it gets, if you don't even care about getting whatever you want. I mean, when they do hostage extractions, half the time the hostages are dead along with the people who took the hostages. So, I mean, I guess that's a way to do the job, but these are not people that you hire if you want to actually get something done efficiently, quickly, or quietly. These are people you hire if you want to make noise.
Okay. And finally, Molly, the building that the sort of security block that we're going to call it, that the panic button has been traced to, is called Smoking Mirror, and it's a high rise, a moderately secure place. What is the most distinctive feature? What makes it different than like the adjoining security block that Bob Higgins comes from?
This block can't afford typically to clean off the graffiti as often. So it has overlapping graffiti on the outside and on the inside, just generations and generations of graffiti.
Like to the point where it's textured layers built up over time?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's what you know. You know that Cortez's panic button went off inside the Smoking Mirror 40-story security block building. You know that he was extracted from RPM by the Jaguar's Paw. You know the Jaguar Paw has some contacts within this building, which may be why they're here. And essentially, you have been hired to get Cortez out and delivered to the site. You've got 2 intel and 2 gear, so we kind of skipped over the legwork phase a little bit here, and we're moving right kind of onto site. So you're the driver there, Squirrel. What does your main vehicle look like?
So it is a basically a race car.
Okay.
But it looks like it's been modded to be able to hold passengers.
Okay.
So it's a little bigger. Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it doesn't have cramped. It doesn't have the cramped weakness, but it is not comfortable.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can cram some people in the back, but it is definitely like a street modded race car.
Tell me, what kind of parking facility or driving facility is with this thing? Is there an underground garage? Do people drive their cars up to their levels? What kind of thing are we talking here?
Oh man, I want to get like real cyberpunky, but that'll take my car away because then they have those like things that where you just put your car in it and it like wheels away.
Well, it can wheel it up to the level. Like it can go like wheel it up to the levels that people live on. They could have garages on their particular level.
Yeah, let's have that. Like where you have your car just is in your house.
Yeah. Hallways wide enough for people to have access, and with a race car, you could conceivably try to drive it around the hallways.
Yeah, we could try.
Yeah, it could happen. So we'll assume that who's in the car with Squirrel, who's on the ground. Let's go around and figure out where everybody is. We're going to assume that everybody has communications. It's a cyberpunk universe. You all have comms. They're encrypted unless you guys roll a 6 or less, and it's all good. So where are you at, Bob? You had short notice, had very little time to scramble the team together, but where are you at?
I would be out in the street, kind of casing the joint,
Okay.
checking out security cameras, making notes.
Okay. So it sounds to me like maybe you are we're going to go with assess, like you're going to go around and check and see what you can find out.
Yep.
Okay.
And if I know somebody,
then,
I'll talk to them and see what they've noticed.
Yeah. So let's go with assess. I'm going to put the roll for your party, the online roller we have. I'll put that link in the thing, or feel free to also roll your own dice at home. It does not matter to me.
Awesome.
What is your edge?
Okay, so my edge should be a 2. A 1. Sorry,
Okay.
1. Trying to cheat.
What? Okay.
And then what am I rolling?
2d6.
All right. Just roll them at home until I get used to that guy.
Sure.
So I got a 6 and a 4, so 10.
10.
Add that
So
to
you're
my
going to get
edge.
3. Yeah, you got a 12. So you're going to get 3 hold. And if you look on the first moves tab, or in the reference sheet, if you got that, is the assess action. So going forward, you have that 3 hold that you can spend to at any time ask one of those questions from that list. We'll kind of figure out how you get that information, and you get a bonus on the next roll when you act on those answers. So is there any one of those questions you want to ask right now?
Now the 3 hold. Sorry, the questions are on the Google sheet.
Yeah, they're on the reference sheet, and you actually see under the moves tab it says under assess. It's what potential complication? What do I notice? How is blank vulnerable to me?
Give me just 1 sec, because I had restarted
Sure.
my computer and I didn't have it handy.
Oh no!
So.
And they're also in the book too. I actually find it easier to work from the reference sheets.
Yeah, no, those are perfect. I'll pass at the moment, just not to hold you up, but
Okay, sure. But we'll swing back to got 3 for that. Jace, what's your approach to things? What's going on here?
Well, I'd be kind of useless if I was in the car and not on the ground like a good journalist. So
Okay.
I'm just kind of asking around about violence in the neighborhood and what kind how violence has been affecting people there. Have there been any outbreaks lately? You know, just some good old fashioned on the ground, you know, boots on the pavement reporting.
All right. Why don't let's have you, because you've got a move that's at like the add a start of a mission move. Let's do that one.
All right. And that's rolling with edge, correct?
Yes, it is.
Oh boy, that gives me a 5.
That gives you a 5. So you are out on the street, kind of walking around, checking things out, and you see a group of scruffy guys heading on into the building, and they're scruffy in that way that you identify as like somebody has outfitted them in scruffy uniforms to look like they're supposed to blend in, and looks to you like it might be an RPM kill team that has gone to building. You didn't get a great look at them, but you did see them, and they didn't see you. The good news is also because you rolled a miss, you also get to mark XP.
All right.
So yeah, looks like the danger level is a little higher than you thought.
All right.
In fact,
can I
I'm
let
going
the
to show
rest
you
of the
what
people know
that. Oh, absolutely, yeah. What I'm going to show you guys is part of what that does. Part of my hard move is I'm raising the clock on the action phase. Essentially, when things go bad and the mission gets worse and worse, I as a GM, I can have the option to increase that clock. When it hits midnight, it gets bad. So, Molly, what
Is there
are you up to?
Is there a spot for XP on these sheets?
Let me look.
And
You
I
would think there
found
would be.
the assess questions.
Oh, good. Okay, we'll come back on that. Yeah, I think you have to manually put in XP.
Okay.
They didn't add it to the sheet. So let me roll back to Bob before I step forward to Molly. Bob, do you want to take spend one of your hold to ask one of those questions right now?
Yes. So, where can I gain most advantage when assessing the area, going to get this Cortez?
You know that there is in all of these buildings there is a security, like a main security control room. And that's probably the place. If you can get in there, that's probably the place where you'll have the most info, and get you essentially the best way to take care of a whole situation. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Molly, what are you up to?
I'm in the car with Squirrel.
Okay.
And while he's driving and getting us there, I'm going to be trying to contact people I know. Specifically, I think I know someone who used to live in this building, but it's been a while since I've talked to them.
Sure. What's their name?
Oakley.
Oakley. So you will call up Oakley, and Oakley's like, "Oh, Molly, what do you want?"
Well, like as usual, there's something going down, and I wanted to give you a heads up that you might want to go for a walk, and I wanted to see if you could give me the lay of the land.
Oh shit! You're not in my neighborhood, are you?
We are headed your way. So
You hear
GTFO.
this pause, the sound of like somebody slightly badly muting them. It's like, back up everything now. I said now, and let's have you roll with style because you're going to a contact for help.
And I rolled. That's a 6, and my style is a 0, so that is a 6.
So he says thanks for the heads up, and hangs up on you.
So Squirrel, as we're driving, I'm rolling nice and chipper, and then all of a sudden, motherfucker, that shithead!
Whoa, what happened?
He hung up on me. God damn it!
Well, go Go ahead.
Oh, go on.
I mean, what floor is he on? They got those fancy elevators, right?
He used to be on floor 70, but he could have moved around. However, we can pay him a visit later. Right now, we need to concentrate on what we're doing.
Oh, come on. I never get to use those elevators.
And we A, you to mark XP. B, we see your contact call someone and calls them, and we can see him talking in an agitated voice. We don't know who he's informing on or who he's informing to, but we can see that off screen as he gets his family out and they go for the express elevator. So what are you doing then, Squirrel? Do you want to get in the building?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're in my buddy's neighborhood, so we all are we all on the job yet? Like, we all know everybody's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more of you have been hired. Money is at stake. All that.
Okay. And we know that Cortez is somewhere in this building.
That his panic button went off in this building just a few hours ago.
Got it. Okay. I think. I mean, I'll ring up Bob, because I mean, this is his neighborhood. Maybe he's going to know a little bit more about who's on here. Maybe he's been paying attention. Bob.
Oh yeah.
Hey. Look. So Jace is drawing a blank here. We're not really sure where in this building we're headed. I know I'm going to get to use one of these elevators, but I don't know what floor to punch in. You find anything yet?
Oh yeah. So I know we got to get to the security area. Can I use the other hold to figure out what floor this person might be on?
Cortez or the security thing? Which aspect, Cortez?
For the security. I apologize.
Oh yeah, no, I think yeah, spend a hold, and I think you'll know that floor 10 is the security floor for this place.
So if you can get into the security, you can figure out where he is exactly, and then control getting him in and out without much trouble. But I've been checking this place out, and I think that's the best route.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Done. Let's do it. And I totally spaced. I'm in the car with Jace or Molly?
Molly.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So Molly is the one that drew a blank. All right. So Molly, look. All right. New plan. We got to hit floor 10. We got to get into the security. Is anybody good at that? I mean, the security part.
Well, I can definitely come in with you guys.
Perfect. All right. I'll swing by and pick you up, and we'll head to floor 10.
Perfect.
All right. So I'll grab him and head into this building.
So I think this is actually, you're trying to do this fast. You're trying to get in, trying not to draw too much attention, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you pick up Bob, take the car in. I think, Squirrel, I need you to act under pressure. Which is
sure.
Rolling with cool.
Yeah, I'm good at that. All right, cool. And let me make sure I don't roll plus something else, because I'm in my car. Let's see. So when you mix it up, when you play hardball, when you interfere, when someone interferes with you, no. Okay, just roll cool. Where's this thing? 2d6. Submit. Oh yeah. I mean, 10 on the dice. That's a 12.
Tell me, what do we see on screen of you getting? You got a couple passengers, and you're taking your race car, and you're driving it sweet up to the 10th floor here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I know how these elevators work, and I don't want to have to back out of this elevator. So I come in a little too hot, and I spin it round, right? So that we do this like drift backwards into the elevator.
Oh,
Mhm.
sweet.
And like as we go by, like I just reach my hand out and like hit the button to like I just put my finger out and like poke 10 as we drift into the elevator and like come to a stop. And it is the loudest friggin' thing. But yeah, he's flashy. He's not going to be able to be quiet and cool. So yeah.
We hear the whir of the stabilizers on the elevator as you come in. Then you kind of roll out. Let's see where Jace is at during this situation.
I think I'm trying to gather evidence
Okay.
because I've seen this team go in there. They're obviously kind of poorly disguised, so things are about to pop off pretty quickly.
That sounds perfect to me. So let's go ahead and have you roll with mind.
And that is probably not going to get me what I need. And it is not. I'm going to roll a big fat 6.
Okay. So you head on in, kind of following up behind these RPM folks, kind of trying to check it. And we'll assume you've gone up a couple of levels. This is a big building.
Mhm.
And you will hit this area, big wide halls and things like that. And as you come up the stairs, you look and you can see that one of those RPM guys is up at the top of the landing there and has clearly tweaked that you've been kind of following along. He's got his silenced machine pistol out, and looks like he's about to unload on you. What do you do?
I'm going to dodge. I'm just going to like try to duck back out of the hallway as quickly as possible.
So this sounds to me like you're rolling back. This is you acting under pressure to get out of the way of gun. So roll with cool.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's not a 6, so it doesn't matter at that point.
No. The good news is you get to mark experience.
That's a good way to look at it, I suppose. Now, didn't I get you a mark experience for the other one as well? Since that's
absolutely.
So okay, I'm at 3 XP now.
Look at you.
Maybe I'll be at 5 when I die.
Yeah. So tell me, do you have any? Is any of your gear armor?
I'm not even sure that any of my gear could be armor.
Okay.
2 seconds here. Let me pull this up. I could have armored clothing that subtracts 1 when rolling the harm move.
Do you have that?
Is the subtract 1 when I'm trying to harm someone or when I'm taking harm?
What it'll be is what's going to happen is you're going to mark the first 2 segments of your harm clock. So both the 1500 and the 1800 hour on your harm clock. And then you're going to roll. And normally you would roll because you took 2 segments with the harm, you're rolling with a +2. If you had that armor on, you'd be rolling with a +1 because you want low.
All righty, so let's just go ahead and mark these 2 real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and roll because what's the worst that could happen? There's almost no chance I could fail, as you often say.
Exactly. So go ahead and roll with a +2.
7.
7. That is great. So I think one of the options is a 7 and 9 on the harm move, means that I get to make a choice. I think what happens is when you go ducking back to get away from him, you end up going down the end of that set of stairs and then down the next set of stairs. And essentially, you roll a couple of levels down before you get yourself under control. Kind of lose your footing, lose where you're at. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair. So how much harm do I mark?
Okay. So just those 2 clocks that you got.
Okay.
If you'd rolled worse, I could have taken a body part, or I had a number of other delicious choices. Let's come and figure out what we've got. Molly and Squirrel in the vehicle, right?
And Bob.
Yeah. So the three of you have hit 10 floor 10 with the security. Who's first out of the car? Is it Molly? Is it Bob?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am.
Molly, what are you doing then?
So there's already been gunfire in this building. Is that correct?
Like in the distance, you probably hear some echoes, but it's a big building.
Okay. So as I step out of the vehicle, what's the situation with the security office? Have people heard that and stepped out? Have they seen something on the monitors?
Yeah, these people. It's a big building, so you can see that essentially those gunshot mics that they have that essentially can isolate and say, detect that there's been gunfire. Those have gone off, and there's probably some security guards that are just kind of going, okay, trying to figure out where that came from, what's going on. They're looking through their cameras. That a lot of systems are offline. A lot of cameras are out. A lot of hardware points are out. So it's a real mixed bag for security here.
So I think I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to step out, and I'm going to start plugging security officers.
Okay. So it sounds to me like you're mixing it up. What is it you want to have happen? What is it you want to drive them away? Is that the thing you're
okay,
trying to do?
I think if there's a small number of them, I want to just drop them. If there is a larger number of them, I would rather No, I'm going to just drop them. That's it.
Oh,
I'm just going to
okay.
full on attack them. Yeah.
Okay. So you're using violence essentially to try and eliminate the people here.
Yes.
So go ahead and roll with meat.
Okay, I got an 11.
Okay. So on the 11, you 7+, you achieve your objective, and you get to choose 2.
Under mix it up.
Under
That's
mix
7
it
to
up.
9, right?
Yeah. Let's see what the 10+ is on that. Hang on. Don't know. Why that thing. Okay. All right. Achieve objective, and you choose 2, so you don't choose any of those. That's right, because those are negatives. So tell me what that looks like when you go to flush the security folks.
Yeah, so basically I step out, and they kind of ignore me at first because they're focused in on where these gunshots have come from. People come up and they complain about like hoodlums in the office and that kind of stuff, and they don't think anything about this sports car looking thing. And I step out, and I'm this little girl. They don't even bother with me. And I drop the 2 guards who just came out, and it's very quick, very silent, almost as if they just kind of went to sleep, and they just kind of slumped to the ground.
Okay.
And I just walk straight towards the door.
Okay. So yeah, you drop them. You roll well enough that your potential messy trigger doesn't come into play. Bob, what are you doing?
Well, I have a pistol. Hopefully, I don't have to use it because I can't take getting shot.
Oh no, Molly
so
has cleared that particular obstacle.
Perfect. I try and go towards the security so we can get into that room and hopefully shut some things down, move people out of our way.
Absolutely. Do you want to use your next question essentially to use the fiction and got access to security cameras to ask that next
Yes.
question? Okay.
To hack it.
Yeah.
So I get behind the screen and just start, swiping away at everything. Like, yeah, no, don't worry, I got this. I'm sure they use their birthday.
Mhm.
And try and get into the whole system. And so
probably a Post-it note,
yeah. It's like, don't do this. Of course, everybody does it. And so I'm checking the cameras for anything like first where everybody is. So I tell everybody exactly, hey, they're on the first floor or whatever. Sorry, when I say everybody, where all the security guards are. I tell them,
Okay.
I look for where all the security guards are and just tell them in general, there's a bunch on the first floor, there's a bunch, whatever. And then second, I look for Cortez.
Okay. I'm going to give you some info I'm going to use the rest of your hold to give you a sense of what's going on. You will, because I'm assuming that Jace has mentioned the kill team. We'll see this RPM kill team that he's mentioned is up, going up, and they're at about, let's say, floor 18, 19. They are heading up. You can see through the scanners them, getting their weaponry together and so on. You will see that up on floor 23, it looks like there's been some kind of brawl. There's some blood there. It looks like what you can judge is that the Jaguar's paw took Cortez up there and holed up in the like an apartment on the 23rd floor. But like they got either into a fight amongst themselves or they got into a fight with somebody else. So it looks like if Cortez is alive, he's up there on floor 23. You're not entirely sure what the opposition is up there right now. But you do have that identified and the essentially oncoming path of these RPM operatives.
Oh boy. All right. So we don't have a lot of time. Where's our person? Who's the closest? Because we're on the 10th floor. Is anybody higher up?
Jace, where are you at?
I'm on the floor, probably trying to bandage myself up after getting shot. I'm probably on floor 8 or so because it's kind of hard for me to believe that they would have gotten up any higher than the security desk
Right.
by the time that our people got up there. And you said I rolled down, 2 flights?
Yeah, like a couple of flights.
So if they were on flight 10, or if they were on the 10th floor, then they've probably gone up another couple of floors by now. And I've gone a couple floors down. So
Jace is a little behind, meaning that you three in a Squirrel's car are probably the highest position right now on the floor.
Okay. So I'll try and get the elevator that has Squirrel's car to go up, and I'll try and get the kill team to go down. So
Interesting.
I assume they're 2 different elevators, or are they going up the stairs?
Let's assume two different elevators. So you essentially are heading. Which elevator heading to first?
Oh, from the security room. I apologize. I
Yeah.
assume in the security room I might be able to shift where the kill team's elevator is going.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point.
So make it go down instead of up.
Let's have you act under pressure.
Oh, buddy.
And then I want to come and check in with Molly and Squirrel.
I've got an idea here. What if you can send the RPM kill team to where I am so that I can go live and start covering this breaking news that there's a kill team running loose in a residential block?
I can only send them up or down, but I rolled a 3 for my act under pressure, so I probably didn't do much of anything.
So
I'm
I
like,
think that what you do is you're playing with that. The good news is you get to mark XP. The bad
Nice.
news is you get the recall, and
Mhm.
Squirrel, you look up and you see the elevator doors open. You're in your car, of course. And you'll see this four-man RPM kill team standing there, and they know you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they step and they see you. They see the car, and you. They are pulling weapons to do stuff right now. What do you want to do, Squirrel?
a little vehicular manslaughter.
Okay.
Uh,
So you
so
want
I
to
am
try and mix it up?
I am a daredevil. So when you drive
Okay.
straight into danger without hedging your bets, you get +1 armor. And if I take harm, I get to mark XP. Also, I have
Okay.
second skin, so when I mix it up, I roll synth instead of meat, and I get to add my car's power, which is 2.
Well, let's have you roll. So that's going to be rolling with a +3 to drive this car into this kill team.
All right, I am +3 to vehicular manslaughter. I'm going to reroll selected. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's a 4 on the dice. So that's a 7.
Okay. So you need to look at that 7 to 9 list under Mix It Up.
All right, you choose. You make too much noise. Advance the relevant mission clock. You take harm as established by the fiction. I think I want to do that so I get my XP. An ally takes harm as established by the fiction. That doesn't make sense unless the reporter unless Jace is here.
Okay.
Something of value breaks. No. I'm going to make some noise because I am also I am illustrious, and so I start live streaming this because I want to be famous, and so I am taking them to task.
Okay. So tell me what it looks like. What do you see on screen? What does your car do? How do they go flying? What happens?
Yeah. So there's like a it's I think he calls it the shock and awe. And he presses this button, and the like radio starts blaring, and the cam flips on, and he he like looks directly into where the cam or the rear view would be, and he like fixes his shades, and he's like, light them up, and then the machine guns start out the front.
Absolutely, and we see that tearing. They drop the back side of that elevator gets perforated, and bits and pieces of that, and we can hear the sound of the cables snapping there, even as you take care of that. Molly, what are you doing?
How many of the kill team made it off the elevator before the car sent them down?
I think
Anybody?
that that the other half of the kill team is still wandering, but that was a good half of them.
Okay. So in that case, so we still have 2 gear and 2 intel, correct?
That you do.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to spend an intel that we knew coming in here where there was a freight elevator, and it's fast.
Okay.
So I'm gonna run for it to beat them
Okay.
to floor 23.
All right. So essentially, you're getting that freight elevator opened and accessed. Is your intent to let the car drive in on that, or you want to head on up yourself, or what?
I'm gonna open it up and then look to see where everybody is. Anybody who doesn't come right away, they're getting left behind, and I'm taking it up. So
Okay.
I have one chance.
So let me check in with Jace, and then let me check in with Bob. Jace, you kind of pull yourself together off of the steps. You're connected, so I assume you're getting the feed from Squirrel's car, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you up to? You know, there's still probably one guy, a couple
On the
floors
stairs
up from
above me.
you.
Yeah. How many people did I see going into the building in the first place?
8.
Saw 8 going in.
Yeah,
And
4 of them
so
are
that
down.
in the elevator. So that means there's at least 1 above me and 3 more whose location is unknown.
Yeah, heading up from the descriptor that Buck gave you.
Can I tap into any building feeds, like security cams or anything like that? Is there anything as a journalist that would allow me to do that? To kind of like pull feed? All right, I want to try to pull video feeds from any security camera I can access to see if I can find out where they are, because this is obviously going to be part of a hell of a news story. I mean, a gunfight with a car in a residential block. I mean, that's a hell of a story, especially once you factor RPM into it.
Yeah, you've got Bob on the security table. You've got this camera already set up and Squirrel's thing. So I think this gives you the fiction to roll assess. So go ahead and roll with edge.
There's almost no way I can fail.
Absolutely not.
That is a 14.
Look at that. You've 3 hold to use with the assess questions there.
Wow. I guess I was getting all my luck in one roll. So,
yeah.
All right. Assess. Let's see what we got here. And then can anyone take one forward when acting on the answers, or does it have to be me taking one forward?
Generally, it's you taking +1 forward because you're the person, getting the real depth of the information.
Okay. What do I notice despite an effort to conceal it?
I think that the Jaguar Paws are trying to cover the fact that they got rolled by a gang. And essentially, they
got rolled by a gang.
Yeah, they're up there on the 23rd floor.
God damn
they got rolled by a gang. They're probably secured at this point, and the gang doesn't know exactly what they've got.
So the gang hasn't taken Cortez, as near as I can tell.
Well, Cortez is there, but they clearly don't know who Cortez is.
Okay. But the gang has not taken Cortez.
That is correct.
Okay. So obviously I'm going to relay that information to everybody else and see if perhaps we could
Default
send...
assumption is always going to be when you do info actions that you're passing to the group unless you say otherwise.
Okay. Maybe there's some way that we can get the gang to square off against RPM, or get the gang caught in a crossfire, and maybe they take out some RPM. Who knows?
Do you have another question, or do you want me to move on?
What potential complication do we need to be wary of?
That RPM clearly wants to kill Cortez, and so they might resort to extreme measures here. They might resort to demolition.
The entire block, or just like the floor, or
whatever they brought with them.
Great. Okay. Moving right along.
Okay. So then let's come to Bob. Bob, security team, you still got the console there. The kill team on this floor has been taken out. You didn't exactly get what you wanted, but the rest of your failure is in the tire treads of Squirrel's car. So what are you doing, Bob?
Well, I don't think there's much more I can do here in the security room. So I'm gonna hustle it to the car and get with the guys.
Okay. So yeah,
Gal.
you'll hop into the car. Are you gonna try and get in that express elevator then, Squirrel?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get in that express elevator.
Okay.
Can I clear one thing up? Did I take harm when I engaged those guys? Because that was one of the choices I chose. I just didn't want to.
Oh yeah. So there have been 2 harm, and what kind of armor do you have against that in that situation?
So I get the daredevil harm, and then I have harm on my jacket, but I kind of want to take the harm so I get the XP. But
Yeah. So absolutely. So take the XP, and we'll say we reduce that by 1. So take 1 harm. So tick your harm clock up by 1.
Okay. Do you just like mark it as red or something to say that you're on there?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
And then roll with a +1 then.
ooh, I have a +1 while I have harm.
Well, no, this is you know how there's those moves that you don't want to roll high on?
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's one
So
of
I'm
them.
rolling to take harm.
Yeah. You've already
Got it,
taken the
okay.
harm, and now we see what happens from it.
Got it. Okay. So let's re-roll these with +1.
Okay.
So that's a 7. So 8, 9, or no 8.
8. Okay. So
Where is it? Oh, harm. MC will choose one.
let's see here. I think that you were in really close with these guys, right? When you fired off this stuff. I think your machine guns are jammed with glue and bone at this point.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. There's a
Yeah,
lot of shin
like-
bones stuck in the machine guns.
Yeah. So those are kind of out of commish right now.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah. You gotta dig the the shin bones out of the Gatling guns.
Yeah, I got to get the sprayer and all of that. So you're going up in the car,
Yeah,
up
so
in
I
the
get us
elevator. Yeah. So let's assume then that our driver elevator pops open. You're on the 23rd floor. Big hallways here. Hey, let me ask you this: is the building round, square, rectangular? What's the shape of the building? Like the floor plan?
I imagine like those academies where you have that big hollow middle
Mm.
in the outside, so it'd be like a donut. Not
Okay, yeah. So it is round. So
Yeah.
there's a big round track that runs around the outside. Okay.
Perfect.
crazy.
And I mentioned that sort of in the hollow area, they probably got cables and laundry and all that stuff. But you've got this open area in between. So we'll assume you pop out. It's then Bob and Molly in the car with Squirrel driving. Just to bring the 2 lines together, is it okay if I put Jace up closer to the scene?
Absolutely. He was going to be heading up there anyway with his camera on to start recording it and reporting.
So Jace, we've still got some of this kill team running around, but we'll put you like you are getting up there just after they get the car into the area. How do you want to play this? You know that Cortez is being held by a gang here on the 23rd floor. You know that there are RPM killers coming. What is the play? I'm going to ask Bob and Molly.
Wow, I don't have any good ideas.
I've got
I
an
have
idea.
a gun. Go ahead.
I mean, we have a race car driving around a residential block at speed. We have a kill team that appears to be interested in killing off an extractee, gang involvement, and an amateur gang of just basically idiots with guns. If this wasn't a time to just go live and start broadcasting everything, I don't know when that time is. If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, but we still got to get Cortez out.
But it's going to be a whole lot easier to get him out alive if we start pointing out that he's being held by a couple of gangs. And that this RPM kill team is there not to rescue him, but to do him in.
Oh, there you go. Maybe get them to back off.
Get him to back off, drop a little bit too more attention on it, draw some heat. See it'll shake out of the tree if we rattle it.
Sure, I can call some people.
It's a plan.
I have this move called Smooth, and it says I can help someone, but I get to roll style instead of link. So maybe I call somebody to get them a fast track to the marketing and production media. Sure. Sorry, to the media.
Yeah, let's have you roll Smooth, and then we can roll that assist then into Jace doing the live and on air.
Excellent. So 2d6.
So go ahead and roll with style. Yeah.
Whoa! See all that? Wow. So 11 plus 2, 13.
Okay. So who is it you call to give your reporter some leverage?
Oh yeah. Well, I know this media superstar, BWQ. He's not superstar, like news reporter. Everybody knows. And so I'm like, hey, he's from the neighborhood. We grew up together. Hey, I got something that's really perfect. Wet your whistle. This will get you all kinds of ratings. This guy, he's got a news bit. Here, got to connect you. Oh, actually, he's gonna be. Well, he's sitting next to me in about 5 minutes.
Okay. So Jace, he hooks you up with somebody who doesn't know how awful you are yet.
They'll learn.
And has some pull. So let's have you go ahead and roll your live and on air with a +1.
All right. And this gets rolled with edge, so that'll be +3. That's a 13.
So I think that we've got a definite effect here. You've got a couple of choices.
Mm-hmm.
One, you can draw off, like force the kill team to back off for the moment. 2, you can essentially get the gang on camera and essentially force them to either hold up or something. Or 3, you can get your hands on Cortez for the moment.
Huh. Squirrel, what do you think? If I get you Cortez, can you get him out of here?
I think
sure as hell I can.
I mean, does that seem like the play here?
I mean, you put Cortez in this car, and there's nowhere I can't get him.
And we only get paid if we get Cortez. So we should definitely get Cortez.
We definitely want to get paid.
We could care less about Cortez, but he's the money. So, all right. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get Cortez out of there, and I'll just keep rolling on the hope that they won't kill me after we do this.
So, yeah, we see you pushing through, going, the camera is going on. It's forcing people to react, and clearing that space will get the thing where you get to sort of the just nasty, old, the gang's been working here for weeks or months, and you kind of break in on that, and somebody kind of points out where Cortez is. He's the only guy in a suit here, and you grab him up. Molly, what are you doing to neutralize any potential threats here?
So I think that I'm kind of laying down covering fire to a certain extent. What this means is I pull out two very sharp swords, and anyone who comes too close to Squirrel or Jace or Cortez, I make sure that they regret it.
Perfect. Let's have you mix it up.
Okay. That is a 6 plus 2 is 8.
Okay. So on 8, you have to choose 2 from the mix it up results. These are bad things. You have to choose 2 of
Okay.
them.
I will take harm.
Okay.
And let's have an ally take harm as established by the fiction.
Okay. So as you're kind of putting this defensive measure up, which of your friends is also going to get caught in the crossfire a little bit here?
I think that some of the gang kind of rushes Cortez, and I fend them off with blades. However, one of them pulls a gun, and they shoot Squirrel, who is sitting in the car.
Okay.
Oh no.
Squirrel, do you have any armor?
Yeah, I mean, does my Daredevil kick in since we're driving into this thing, or am I?
Yeah.
I do have just normal armor. I have I have a 1 armor jacket.
Yeah. So what you'll do is you'll take no harm because you're armor, but you still have to roll the harm move, even though with a +0.
Okay. I'm just making sure that there's nothing in here about being in my car. Okay, cool. Got to use all the buttons. All right. +1, reroll, go.
Or +0.
It's +0 now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an 8.
That is an 8.
Where's harm? So, you get to pick.
Let me see here. So I think you take that hit, and we see you start to kind of skid, and kind of start to skid down one of those stairwells, like the wraparound outside spiral. Essentially, and you're having some issues there. Molly, you have armor on, right?
I have 2 armor.
2 armor. So you'll be rolling the harm move with the 0 as well.
Okay. And I got an 11.
Okay. So on a 10 plus, you get to choose from the big list. And for those of you at home, his choices are: you're out of action, unconscious, trapped, or incoherent. You take the full harm of the attack before it was reduced by armor. Lose the use of a piece of cyberware until you can get it repaired, or lose a body part.
I'm going to take the full harm.
Okay.
So that was 2?
So two ticks. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got that.
What does that look like? What happened there?
Yeah, so what that looks like is she starts to literally dance among, something very graceful, and pulls out the 2 blades. Someone comes too close, they come away with a stump and blood sprays, and then one of the punks pulls out this big old pistol and just starts plugging away, and we hear ricochets and all of that, and she a ricochet hits her, and she kind of shrugs it off, and then looks down, and there's blood coming out from underneath where her armor is.
Yeah, just that lucky shot got under there and tagged you.
Right.
Now, luckily, the first 3 levels of harm that you take, those things are easy to wash away, especially between sessions. More than that starts to become a more serious issue. Bob, Jace has cleared the way. Cortez is there. Squirrel's trying to get the car into position, and maybe not send it flying down the stairs. And tell me what I mean. Are you trying to calm Cortez? Are you just grabbing Cortez? What is it?
I'm grabbing Cortez because I'm not a very imposing type person. You know, I might be like 5'4" or something like that and skinny. So I go grab Cortez, say, "Come on, come with me." And plus, he might be in shock anyway, and just drag him into the car.
So it sounds like to me like there's no subtlety to this. You're just acting under pressure, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, completely.
Let's have you roll with cool.
We know how well that goes. All right. No bonuses. 7. There's no plus
7.
Coolness.
So I think that you can get Cortez in, but one of you is going to take a round from that guy firing wildly. Is it you or Cortez?
Oh, I'll take it. He's the money.
Okay. So take 1 harm.
Ouch.
So you can tick your clock up by 1 and then roll the harm move with a +1.
Okay, harm move with a +1. 11.
You're out of action conscious. You take another harm. You lose a piece of cyberware until you can get it repaired, or you lose a body part.
Yeah, see, how many people are ever going to pick the lose a body part?
Oh, I had a player who wanted the cyber stuff.
I'm going to go into panicked.
Okay.
Be like, you're going to get me killed. What are you doing? Oh my God, just get in here.
So Jace is using that cover. He's keeping people done. Molly's been firing it off. And rather, Bob, than getting into the car, you got Cortez in. But rather than getting yourself, grabbing onto the car as right now, Squirrel, you're going to try and get this car out of here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You also realize that Bob is not in the car, but is hanging onto the car.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So
I'm screaming wildly.
yeah. But we do have Cortez in the car, right?
Oh yeah, Cortez. He's hyperventilating. He's panicked.
All right.
He doesn't know what's going on.
Where exactly is Bob? Is Bob like half in, half out? Is Bob like, is the door open?
I
and Bob
imagine my hands are clinging on. Like maybe I caught, like, because the window's open, there might be that little bar between the full size window and the little triangle window. And maybe I'm holding on there and another hand just slightly in, like on a seatbelt. Oh, I got a seatbelt.
Okay.
And one arm on the window.
Nice. Okay. So I trigger Red Hawk, which is my drone, which is mounted on the back of not like on the back side, but in the like where the T panel would be on the rear view window or the rear window. That's where the drone is mounted. And so I kick Red Hawk on and have it like spin the rotors the other way to like give me traction on these stairs. So we can like up these stairs, and then as soon as we get like to some speed, I'm gonna try to like do a maneuver so that the centrifugal force will pull Bob into the car. Act
under pressure.
Yeah,
I believe you get some driver bonuses.
Yeah, I get to roll plus cool plus my car's power. So that's a +4.
There's almost no chance that you could fail.
Well, I got a 7 on the dice. +4 is a number. It's like an 11.
So what do we see as you go flying out of this building? Does Bob get in the car?
So I think so I got an 11. So we come flying out of this thing, and Bob is hanging on like for dear life. And
screaming.
We get that scene of like Bob running along the wall, right? So he doesn't get pulled under the car. And I think like just as we're coming around a corner, someone is like swinging their door open to see what all this commotion is, and like I just bring the front end of the car into their apartment for a second, and then like break it loose so that the car shifts and the force pulls Bob in head first. and then we're now
Nice.
driving in reverse down the thing.
Nice. And I think we see Molly getting out a little bloodied. Jace has a good footage, and Squirrel gets Bob and Cortez out of there. And I think we cut from there to the meet a little bit later, where you hand Cortez off.
May I
And,
narrate that for just a second?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think the way that Molly gets out is I'm going to spend a gear. We had we had been given some parachutes, so she blows.
Oh, nice.
She guns down the window, jumps out, pulls one of those. I don't remember what they call it, but one of those city urban, jump off a skyscraper kind of parachute and parachutes out. That was it.
Nice.
See, I got the little base. Thank you, base jumping.
Aren't those
Yeah,
called the squirrel
you
suit?
head out. Squirrel suit. That makes sense. So one of you needs to roll with Edge. This is the. Oh, sorry, not with Edge. That would be get the job. I need somebody to roll with whatever you would have remaining on the legwork clock, which in this case I gave you 4 segments left on the clock. So somebody needs to roll with a +4. Who's
And
going
what
to do
other
it?
stat?
Just a +4. That's it.
All right.
What we do is,
How about not
and I'll
me?
explain I'll explain the mechanics. So what it is during the legwork phase, when you're doing prep and getting gear and intel and so on, when things go badly, the legwork clock goes up. Essentially, it's a little rating, and that means you're getting more stuff, but it also means that it may be harder to get paid as well as you wanted to be paid. So, who wants to roll?
You roll 2d6?
Trey, I'm going to make you roll. Trey, 2d6 +4.
All right. I have 6 plus. I had rolled a 4 and a 2, so that was 6. And I get +4
So that's
on
a
that?
10 plus. Yeah. So then you would look at the getting paid move, which is there on the second tab of that. You get to pick 3 of them. Here are the results you can pick from, group. You pick 3 out of these 5 results. It's not a setup or an ambush. You get paid in full. The employer is identifiable. The meeting doesn't attract attention of outside parties. You learn something from the mission. Everyone marks experience. So, Puckett, what is your pick?
It's not a setup or an ambush.
Not a setup or an ambush. Steven, what is your pick?
We get XP. Is that everyone
Okay.
gets XP or just me?
Everyone gets XP. You all get a car.
That's right.
Everyone gets XP.
We learned something.
Yep. And Kurt, what is the last choice there?
We get paid in full because it's too early to care about who we're working for.
Okay. In that case, I go to the clock and I take the RPM clock up by 1 tick because it did attract attention.
Yeah.
And then XP wise, you get an XP when you take the mission. You get an XP when you start the mission and you delivered Cortez. You get an XP for that. So everybody gets 3 additional XP.
Is that on top of the XP for getting paid?
Yep.
Nice.
And so that's a tight kind of compressed mission. Next session, I'll give you some options about what you want to do in terms of mission. We'll do a little sort of downtime play, and then we'll do the whole legwork phase, the setting up and planning for the mission, doing the role for taking the job, and all of that kind of stuff. Does that seem cool?
Yeah, definitely in. And hopefully my
Okay.
camera will work.
What does the payout do to our credits? Does that increase them or?
Yeah, and I'll check to see because I have to look at what the value is, but I will give you credits next time, and you can spend those
Okay.
in play. So we'll get that all worked out.
All right.
Awesome. I am going to stop the stream.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thanks, and thanks for these resources. That really helps.